god, today we're gonna watch The Dark History of Monster Hunter's Man-Made Monsters by Maki. I know about the Guardian Monsters because I play Wilds, but I don't know a lot about the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon, which gets talked about in this video as well. And please drop a comment with what other videos you want me to react to. I read every single comment. And please consider becoming a channel member to watch these videos a few days early. So let's learn about some Monster Hunter lore. I have to hold back on 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon last time. It was mentioned, yeah. And someone on the last Monster Hunter React left a big comment explaining about 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon, and I had and I told them sorry that I don't read the comment because I planned this react to do. I didn't read that comment, so yeah. But like I know like the basic lore of the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon. Like how can I not look it up with a design like this? But I don't know much at all. So yeah.
There was a rumor deep within an unknown forest about an ancient storage facility, and inside that place lies an unexpected discovery. One of the pages of an old Monster Hunter book shared a myth about an ancient civilization. This lost civilization once meddled with life, slaying 30 dragons and using their bodies alongside their powerful technology, giving birth to an ultimate life form that could surpass many powerful creatures. This life form was then used to triumph in what was known as the Great Dragon War, driving both sides of the conflict to the brink of extinction.
Damn.
It sounds polarizing to hear, don't you think? Most hunters dismiss the idea, so was I, and let me tell you, this aged like wilt. This is one of the most disturbing lore in Monster Hunter: Guardians.
Los Guardians of Iberia. These are Shia's real version of the 𝘕𝘴𝘦. Yeah, that's what I've been told.
At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that there was an old Monster Hunter book detailing a myth about an ancient civilization. That rumor was brought up in this book, the Hunter's Encyclopedia. It's written by the Royal Paleontology Scriveners. They are a public organization within the world of Monster Hunter. They are dedicated to researching, studying, and observing the ecologies and whereabouts of various monsters.
Yeah, the encounter Scriveners in Monster Hunter Stories. So they're a public organization, so not associated with the guild. I guess what that means.
The book shares an eerie illustration of monstrous Frankenstein-like dragon. Rumors suggest that this amalgamated creature was engineered to win the Great Dragon War. At that time, the whole idea of an ancient civilization having the most powerful technology to develop a Frankenstein-like dragon.
Bro, this looks so cool. Like as cool as Guardians and 𝘕𝘠 are, this design goes crazy. This design is insane and I kinda want it. If kinda, I mean I very much want that in an actual game.
Just sounds ridiculous. However, there were clues in every game that led me to think, what if this rumor was true? And what if there was a civilization capable of doing so?
It should be an expansion.
The most notable clue is the...
Yeah, I had the thought that maybe the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon happens because with current day technology, they try to recreate Guardians, but they fail, and the result is the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapons. 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon singular is how I think it could happen. But who knows?
The Artian armor, how do you guys pronounce this? And some of the rusted weapons based on the description. Several years later, the Hunters Guild was out and about exploring the Forbidden Lands and discovered what they've never expected to be possible.
Encounter.
During our journey of helping Nata return to his home village, after we had met him passed out on
Remember
the
when
borders
Nata was
of
a
the
character?
Forbidden Lands, we encountered
Sushi artworks go so hard. I believe Balasag also had its origin from digital concept art. Interesting.
something unusual underground.
Another who's
We
that?
encountered two Doshakumas that looked really unusual, and they were fighting each other. Based on the appearance, typically these creatures have bristly, golden brown fur, and the alpha will have a brighter, deep red mane. Their forelegs and face should look a bit reddish orange. However, the appearance of these two Doshakumas were completely different. Their bristly fur had now a silver-white hue, their eyes were black, and their forelegs looked pale gray. But the thing that stood out the most was their veins, pulsating with a purple glow. This uncanny creature locked eyes with our hunter and immediately became aggravated. As the fight went on, the purplish veins on its forearms grew brighter and started to steam. When it slammed the ground, there was a strong burst of energy, and strange, coral-looking crystals formed out of the ground. But the most surprising thing was the way its body reacted. The wounds were regenerating, while some of them had something strange leaking out. What happened next was interesting. As soon as Toshiguma started losing its energy, it quickly ran towards the strange pool of liquid known as 𝘕𝘂. The monster stood in the pool and let its body absorb the 𝘕𝘂, instantly
Gotta slurp
regaining
your
its
mouth.
strength. Of course, after a while, the monster finally weakened and it collapsed onto the ground. Phew, that was a lot to digest. Are you still here with me?
Disturbing artificial creatures.
What we encountered are creatures known as guardians. Unlike other species, guardians are artificial monsters created by the civilization of Wyveria. Now, as you've noticed, these artificial monsters, they mimic the appearance of other monster species. They are immediately recognizable by their pale, gray bodies, black eyes, and glowing, pulsating purple veins. According to Alma, our handler, other defining characteristics also include a lack of reproductive organs and a severely atrophied esophagus. I assume that this is also the reason why the roars of the guardians sound different. It looks disturbing the more I think about it. Inside the ruins of Wyveria, there is a small village known as Sild. The people
We must go for a bit. Okay, have a good one.
of Sild, known as the Keepers, have some knowledge about these strange, artificial creatures. According to Tashin, one of
Give me suggestions in the chat. No, I don't take suggestions live on stream.
the people of Sild, these guardians had several unique properties. The keyword here is had, but we'll get into that in a bit. He mentioned that guardians don't eat. Instead, these artificial creatures rely on a unique energy source called 𝘕𝘂, also known as wyvern milk, to function. This eliminates their need for predation. Another thing about these guardians is they live indefinitely and therefore have no need to reproduce. We just see some of these guardians come out of the giant cocoons underneath the ruins of Wyveria. How they are actually made is a question we have yet to understand. These guardians do not die of natural causes. Even so, here are some of the materials we can gather. Another observation I've noticed, Unlike normal creatures whose carcasses rot away, the corpses of these guardians crystallize, and it's just fascinating to see.
I never noticed that because I don't really look at the corpses. But that's interesting. Why would they crystallize? Anyways, I want to see guardian forms in an update. I'm gonna make a video on that sometime when I'm not procrastinating.
Lastly, it turns out guardians can be tricked. We discovered
But the script for the video is already written. I'm just lazy.
this when Tashin and Nata have to hide in a cocoon after a guardian 𝘰𝘴𝘦 ambushes the group. Eventually, after a bit of research, the guild classifies these artificial creatures as constructs. I guess our next question would be, why were they made in the first place?
For war!
We learned from 𝘔𝘰𝘯𝘕, a Wyverian living in the mountaintops of Suja, that these guardians are Wyveria's greatest achievement, and their main purpose was to serve their needs. Wow, that is crazy if you ask me. As of right now, or as of this video, Wyveria has experimented with and created 7 powerful guardians. Let's go through each one of them.
We're gonna learn in the expansion the whole background, right? Probably. I'm so there for that.
We first ran into Guardian 𝘰𝘴𝘦 while exploring the Forbidden Lands. At first, we had no idea it was a guardian, especially since historical records from the guild say this monster is extinct. It wasn't until we met one of the keepers, Tashin, that the secret of this fallen civilization was revealed to us. We'll talk more about Guardian 𝘰𝘴𝘦 later on, so for now, let's keep going with the rest of the guardians. While we were exploring deep into the ruins, we found strange traces of a monster near the area and predicted it may have come from a subspecies known as 𝘕𝘦𝘸 and lo and behold, the monster itself decided to show up. 𝘕𝘦𝘸 had several advantageous traits that made it a great choice for Wyveria's guardians. According to Alma's predictions, this guardian would need to have a keen nose, enough mobility to navigate any terrain, it could maintain a broad territory, a habit to pursue its prey relentlessly, and lastly, it should be good to be placed as a guard. If we were to compare Ebony's guardian to its natural form, there are some interesting things I've noticed. Its guardian form is able to sustain its dragon energy better than its natural form. Naturally, to maintain its power, 𝘕𝘦𝘸𝘸 usually carries a large piece of meat, because using dragon energy takes so much energy from this monster. As to what dragon energy is, we're gonna dive deep into that in a future video. As per usual, its guardian form is just as agile as its natural form. Its claws remain sharp and still causes its opponents to bleed. Whenever 𝘕𝘦𝘸𝘸 attacks, the Wilk energy that it carries triggers an explosion. If its dragon element attacks connects with Wilk crystals, it will cause an explosion of the same element. Surprisingly, 𝘕𝘦𝘸𝘸 was not the only subspecies Wyveria chose as a guardian. While we were in the depths of the ruins of Wyveria, analyzing the 𝘔𝘰𝘴𝘦, the monster accidentally awakened a guardian from the giant cocoon. This guardian was 𝘔𝘰𝘴𝘦. 𝘔𝘰𝘴𝘦 seems to follow the same selection pattern as 𝘕𝘦𝘸𝘸. It holds the same advantageous traits that make it a great candidate as a guardian of Wyveria. Much like Guardian Ebony, guardian 𝘔𝘴𝘦 is able to maintain its electrified state much better than its natural form. How does it usually work? Well, this monster's whole body is designed to generate electricity simply by moving. It actively uses the sails on its back, its mouth, and the feathers all over its body to generate the electricity. As that internal power builds up, the feathers, especially the ones on its back, will stand straight up and open its mesmerizing blue sails. How does it help the monster? You see, 𝘔𝘴𝘦's electrical charge toughens the monster's hide. It also makes the disgusting mucus highly conductive, and it
Wait. 𝘔𝘴𝘦 just spits on you? Wait. That is hilarious. That is so fucking funny. I'm sorry. I'm breaking the mood, but oh my god, that is so fucking funny. He's just spits on you. That is funny as shit.
regulates its body temperature and boosts its physical strength. With that said, it can only remain in that state for a short amount of time, so it needs to make the most of it. When its body reaches its limit, the monster performs a powerful dive attack using all the stored electricity.
Episode scientists abilities to have some logical reason for happening. Yeah. That's why I fell in love with Monster Hunter, because they actually take ecology so seriously.
For one powerful bite. Once it releases the energy, it completely loses its electrical power and must continuously attack to regain the charge it lost. On the other hand, as I mentioned, Guardian 𝘔𝘴𝘦 is able to maintain this electrical charge. Not only their lightning attacks a threat, but their maws, when infused with 𝘔𝘴𝘦 energy, will also cause wide-range explosions. Similar to Guardian ebony odogaron, the 𝘔𝘴 crystals that form from their attacks will explode through elemental interference like their electrical charge. Another interesting thing to mention is that while observing the Guardian 𝘔𝘴𝘦, sometimes it would try to dig a hole in the ground. I'm not quite sure why, as its natural form doesn't do this. On the side note, while I was wrapping up the script, I've read that they would normally sharpen their fangs by eating prey, but since they became a guardian, they no longer need to eat, so instead, they sharpen and regrow their teeth by digging a hole in the ground. I think that makes sense. Besides 𝘔𝘴𝘦, Wyveria has another monster to serve their needs. This is...
By the way, I hope at the end of Wilds, as in after the expansion, that we have a guardian of each element, because each element has different interactions with work. So that would be really cool.
Guardian 𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘴, a guardian that was formed from the body of 𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘴. I've already...
Which I think we're only missing a fire and ice guardian for all the elements.
Shared the story of how we first encountered this guardian, so let's get straight to the differences between its artificial and natural form. 𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘴s are large, fanged beasts. They are aggressive, attacking enemies with everything they have, even throwing smaller monsters at their targets. These monsters primarily bite, swipe with their large claws, or slam their bodies into their enemies. Despite commonly appearing in groups, Eric suggests that these creatures are independent. Their strength allows them to survive by themselves, as they have little to no fear
Not yet.
from other predators. When 𝘠𝘵𝘠𝘴s form as a group, Typically in the desert, it's only a temporary loose group to get an easy meal. It's not to socialize or show any loyalty to the alpha. Once a doshiguma has taken significant amount of damage, it becomes enraged and stands on its hind legs, causing its old wounds to open. In this state, it gains new attacks and combos, like using its claws to uproot the ground. Guardian Doshiguma is comparable to its natural form, but it has some key differences. It's typically alone, and its attacks often result into Wilk energy explosions. Additionally, it spits out acid that lowers the enemy's defense, which I find a bit strange. How can the Guardian Doshiguma spit out gastric juice when it hasn't eaten anything? But let me know what you think. Like all Guardians, Guardian Doshiguma uses Wilk energy to regenerate wounds and absorb it enough that it allows them to re-enter this empowered state. Now, what about small monsters? Has 𝘕𝘂𝘴𝘂 chosen any small monsters as their guardian? When
Sacred.
Tashin finally revealed 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘴's secret, we learned that the ground beneath the ruins of 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘴 is filled with many cocoons, each one containing artificial creatures, one of which are guardian 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘕s. 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕s are interesting bird wyvern looking creatures that we first discovered in the Forbidden Lands while rescuing a child who was being chased down by monsters in the sand. These creatures are covered in blue and green scales, and they have purple-ish feathers, but according to the kid we rescued, 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕s come in a variety of colors depending on what they're fed. They are agile creatures that primarily use a bipedal stance. Despite this, they possess short forearms that allow them to drop into a quadrupedal stance to sprint. These same arms can unfurl into wings, allowing the 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕 to glide from high places. Inside the 𝘔𝘴𝘂 village, we can also see some of the creature's babies. They
The
are
hashtags
small
are
and
so
round,
cute.
covered in fluffy white feathers, and have smaller beaks and short forward-pointed crests on their heads. Although most of the 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕s we've encountered appear to have been domesticated by the Sandfolk people of Kunafa, living alongside with them for generations as both mounts and companions. Guardian 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕s, on the other hand, are quite different. Unlike their natural counterparts, they are aggressive and distinguished by their sharp, dangerous claws on their forelegs. They typically appear in
notice that they have
packs of
claws.
2 or 3, but if threatened, they are known to call for reinforcements and attempt to surround their opponent. Much like other guardians, most of their physical attacks are infused with Wilk energy and will cause explosions. What's interesting is
Oh yeah, I really hope we get a sacred layered armor or whatever that just turns it into a guardian sacred. That would be so cool. I'm surprised we don't have that yet.
how the appearance of these guardians tell us more about 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕. As I've mentioned a while ago, it seems that before the Sandfolk people domesticated them, 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘕s possessed sharp, dangerous claws on their forelegs. Now, here's my theory. Circling back to my previous video, I theorized that 𝘕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂 are closely related to 𝘂𝘂𝑃tos, an extinct species of quote-unquote running bird wyvern. You see, 𝘂𝑃tos had wings, but they were not capable much of flight. Researchers suggest that 𝘂𝑃tos was still evolving stronger legs for longer distance running, while most of the species that followed 𝘂𝑃tos had evolved to have stronger legs for long distance running, like the yakus, such as 𝘔𝘰𝘯𝘂𝘂 and 𝘕𝘪𝘯𝘂𝘂. Researchers theorize that 𝘔𝘰𝘯𝘂𝑂's forelimb feathers suggest its ancestors once had wings. However, these feathers are now used solely for display, with males using them to attract females. Unlike their relatives, 𝘕𝘓𝑡s were able to retain enough four-limb feathers to allow them to glide from high places. On top of this, the 𝘕𝘓𝑡's bone structure in their legs is designed for long-distance running. However, they can't run fast or be explosive for short sprints. On the topic of creatures that can take flight, let's now talk about another guardian that conquers the skies.
Should I also watch the video on extinct species? Could be very interesting.
As we reached the surface from an underground tunnel, we discovered a large, unknown ruin structure. Nata calls out, and then a man named 𝘕𝘴𝘦 appeared from the rubble. Suddenly, a loud roar was heard from the skies. 𝘕𝘴𝘦 was frightened. The monster came crashing down from the misty sky onto the gates. Everyone ran away to hide, and we locked eyes on the monster, Guardian Rathalos. It's no surprise why they would choose Rathalos, considering most of the guardians we've seen so far focus on land. Wyveria also had to consider a guardian to rule the sky. Much like its natural form, Guardian Rathalos attacks violently with its claws and flaming breath. Like most guardians, some of its physical attacks, especially its claw attacks, cause explosions due to the 𝘔𝘴𝘦 energy, which you can tell when its legs starts to glow. Similar to Guardian 𝘔𝘴𝘦 and Ebony Autogaron, the 𝘔𝘴𝘦 on the ground crystallizes. If these 𝘔𝘴𝘦 crystals, yep, that's what they're called, are hit by the monster's fire attacks, they will cause an explosion. Lastly, Guardian Rathalos can also regenerate its wounds by absorbing energy from a nearby 𝘔𝘴𝘠 pool, which allows them to re-enter an empowered state. Now, you might be thinking, it seems like these guardians have nothing to worry about, right? Well, much like their natural counterparts, these guardians are also preyed upon by a certain monster. After slaying the guardian Ebony Autogaron, a strange creature snuck in. It took Ebony's body and pulled us inside a cave. The creature then proceeds to eat the guardian in front of us, and it revealed its horrifying appearance. This creature is known as 𝘕𝘀. 𝘕𝘀 is a cephalopod monster. Its tentacles harden from the mucus it secretes, which shapes them in a way that resembles blades or spears. Some refer to 𝘕𝘀 as the piercing assassin. Moreover, this creature has no eyes, but its other senses are highly developed. It excels at catching prey off guard, especially with its ability to enter small crevices and crawl quickly across the ground. Hidden underneath its body, it has a large mouth that allows it to devour large creatures. 𝘕𝘀 adapted itself to prey on guardians. It's often active during Wyvern's Awakening, an inclemency period in the ruins of Wyveria, due to the increased number of awakened guardians. Because of how this monster is attracted towards guardians, there was one unfortunate incident where it consumed a villager of Sild, because the villager's outfit mistakenly resembles a guardian's cocoon. If you came to this village for the first time,
yeah, I remember
you
that
can
quest.
actually talk to this person. After Wyveria fell, many of these guardians were left with no guidance, no order, and trapped in a mindless state until they turned back into crystals. Sometimes, if one of the guardian bumps into each other, they clash, and it seems like a remnant of their former identity. Now, they're pretty much hollowed husks roaming around the ruins, except for one guardian, 𝘰𝘴𝘁. In my previous video about extinct species, I explained how 𝘰𝘴𝘁 was one such guardian that was singled out for being an extinct species. One day, Guardian 𝘰𝘴𝘁, which had been chained up for a long time, broke loose. Throughout the story, Nata explains how 𝘕𝘴𝘏, or as they call the White Wraith, destroyed their village known as 𝘕𝘪𝘯 after it had went berserk. After Guardian 𝘕𝘴𝘏�'s rampage and learning to predate, it became unable to regulate its intake of wyvern milk. Because of how it was so intoxicated by the surplus of energy, the monster descended into madness. Due to its destructive behavior, the Avis unit, that's us, made the decision to slay the monster. In the days after Guardian 𝘕𝘴𝘏 was slain, the Avis unit found something near the windswept mountain. What they found was an empty egg of 𝘕𝘴𝘏. Let's take a closer look at 𝘕𝘴𝘏. According to the research notes, 𝘕𝘴𝘏 is a flying wyvern with unique chain-like blades on its wings. These blades can extend and retract freely to reap its prey. This monster feeds on elemental energy through the chain blades and uses that energy to unleash dragon elemental attacks. Its ability is pretty crazy if you ask me. There are only a few monsters that can make use of dragon element, and much like 𝘕𝘴𝘏, it consumes a lot of their energy. Again, we'll talk more about the mystery of the dragon element in a separate video, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out.
Might
According
also be
to
interesting.
Alma, some ancient records mention a monster with similar characteristics of that 𝘕𝘴𝘏, and it lacks the ability to absorb and convert elements. Potentially, this could mean that when monsters are turned into guardians, they gain enhanced abilities. 𝘕𝘴𝘏 may have gained new abilities despite reverting to its origin, and again, it's still a mystery as to why it was chosen to be a guardian and what function the monster served. Besides the creation of these guardians, 𝘕𝘁𝑦 also created a secret guardian, one far more powerful than all of these.
Most interesting
the
one.
guardian they call 𝘕𝑫𝑎. Long ago, a royal paleontology scrivener wrote in a hunter's encyclopedia a rumor about an ancient storage facility hidden deep within an unknown forest. Inside this facility lay a monster, and not just any monster, but an amalgamation of dragons believed to be created by an ancient civilization that once meddled with life. It was unbelievable to think about. What really happened here is, underneath the city of 𝘕𝘁𝑦, there was an abandoned shrine, and we discovered a giant monster, the ultimate guardian of 𝘕𝘁𝑦, 𝘕𝑫𝑎. This creature clearly takes inspiration from the equal dragon weapon, and we can safely assume this is the case. To think this monster brought countless discussions online for many, many years, and here we are standing in front of the being. Not only that, but we get to hunt it too. But what exactly is 𝘕𝘫𝑎? According to the All-Harken, the wyverian you'd meet in the highest place of the Forbidden Lands, also known as Suja. During the Age of 𝘕𝘁𝑦, the civilization faced a threat of a looming war at its gates. Because of this, they created another guardian said to be the ultimate weapon of 𝘕𝘁𝑦. This guardian, 𝘕𝘫𝑎, was created to be their savior, but unfortunately it became 𝘕𝘁𝑦a's biggest mistake, and it caused their own demise. When you craft 𝘕𝘫𝑎's armor pieces, it speaks volume of how unstable the Guardian is. Following the massive destruction of the civilization, the ultimate Guardian, 𝘕𝘫𝑎, fell dormant and continued to feed off the energy of the Dragon Torch inside the shrine, and by doing so, it threw the weather of the surrounding regions of the Forbidden Lands into disarray. In addition to the destruction, many of the Guardians fell dormant, while the rest continued to roam the ruins of 𝘕𝘁𝑦 without purpose. Quite a story, huh? If we look at the appearance of Shia, you can tell how it differs from how it was depicted in the rumor. Its entire body is covered in crystallized 𝘂𝘴. It has giant wing arms on its back adorned with strands shaped like feathers. While its head doesn't seem to have a face, if we destroy the 𝘂𝘴 shell, we can see its hollowed eyes, blue flesh, and a mouth. Do I only see this? But its head kinda resembles the Artian helmet, don't you think? As mentioned in the Hunter notes, its true form underneath the crystallized 𝘂𝘴 is oddly terrifying. Its form is a black monstrosity whose head and jaws grow in size and whose massive arms are mangled and adorned with numerous twisted horns. I think the best way to illustrate this is with the black ember mass that you can carve from its body. It's a small, swollen mass from the inside of Shia that pulses with an alien-like quality.
Oh.
Besides the appearance of this guardian, what makes Shia terrifying is how its attacks resemble some of the powerful monsters we have encountered in the Monster Hunter series. Zun has an incredible video portraying a side-by-side comparison of Shia's attacks against many
It's
of
been
the
brought up a
powerful
lot
monsters
that it has
we have
moves
faced
from
in the
different
past. I highly
monsters.
recommend checking it out. On top of this, what's also crazy is, despite slaying Shia, it was able to replicate itself through asexual reproduction. But there's a catch, of course. For it to succeed, Shia has to be in close proximity to a massive source of 𝘂𝘴 energy, such as the Dragon Torch, which is why it lies dormant in the shrine.
Okay.
I'm still wrapping my head around this idea. After all these years of theory crafting and speculation about artificial creatures, I'm still amazed that we're now seeing it unfold in the story of Monster Hunter Wilds. Of course, these are not Frankenstein monsters stitched together with mechanical parts as it was rumored in the book. I know some of you may think the concept of these guardians may seem lazy, unnecessary, or quite underwhelming, but I do think it has some potential.
Guardians are
I
so
wonder,
cool.
was there a point in time during the Age of 𝘕𝑗𝑚 that they've explored the New World? Let me explain.
I don't understand people that hate on Guardians. Guardians are so interesting. And are very unique with their moves because of the 𝘂𝘴. If anything, they're not any lazier than any other variation of any other monster.
Later in the story of Monster Hunter Wilds, Gemma talks to us about Artian materials. These Artian materials, such as ancient weapon fragments, rusted weapon shards, and damaged weapon shards, are collected after slaying tempered monsters. These are monsters that have survived countless battles. By giving Gemma these materials, she will be able to craft these Artian weapons. Besides these ancient weapons, she could also craft.
It's a unique concept and have the potential to be really interesting. Yeah. Like, just lore-wise, they're already so fucking interesting. And they're really fun to hunt.
The Artian armor set. Although this doesn't really require any of those Artian ancient materials. With that in mind, these ancient fragments are also found in the New World, which is quite odd. I've mentioned this in one of my older videos, but basically, remember how in the story of Monster Hunter
I don't remember because I haven't played World yet.
we were asked by the Hunters Guild to venture out to this unexplored continent, which we later call as the New World. Throughout the story, it was said that we explored the New World 40 years ago with the First Fleet. During our time in the New World, we would soon find out that we were not the first ones to inhabit this continent. If you send out the cats to explore.
Is that a tiny 𝘕𝘴𝘠? I That is so cute.
Or one of the locales in the New World, sometimes they encounter an ancient fragment along their journey. And you see, this is quite strange. Where did these cats found these ancient fragments? Could this mean the New World was already explored by the civilization of Wyveria? Possibly, but
Damn, she saw it. What do I mean, damn, she saw it?
we're still uncertain, despite Gemma mentioning
Wait, the baby Fatalis is a polycle layered armor? I need that so badly.
how she could recreate some of the weapons of the lost civilization. I'm sure many of you, just as I did not expect these kinds of absurd monsters to be shown in the world of Monster Hunter. And the idea of artificial creatures is so far-fetched that it would sound like one of those fan-made story of the game.
Wasn't you wanted once you see it?
You'd read on some
Fair.
wiki, but you know what? I like it. Initially, this crazy concept was one of their ideas while conceptualizing the first Monster Hunter game. Eventually, these concepts are reintroduced.
Wait, 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon was a concept for the first Monster Hunter game? God damn, they took their time to make them real.
Introduced as unidentified creatures or in-game rumors, which allowed them to reintroduce and modify them later on to fit the game, just like some of the creatures in Monster Hunter.
This is the original Anshanath. Not a bad design, but kinda generic.
World. But hey, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. I wasn't expecting many of you, after my previous video about extinct species, to wish for some of those creatures to be introduced as guardians in wilds. Who knows? Maybe there are more extinct species we haven't heard of that will be introduced, much like 𝘕𝘴𝘴𝘏. If you
Would
enjoyed
love
this
that.
video, please subscribe and check out our Patreon. I've been uploading some
That was a
behind the
good
scenes there,
video.
video updates, and other unreleased stories. I highly recommend you.
I was kinda hoping it goes more into the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon. Because, you know, it's on a thumbnail. But I guess so much is known about the 𝘕𝘴𝘦 weapon.
You check it
So-
out. As always, thank you again for watching,
Yeah.
and I'll see you in the next video.
That was a good video. I like that.